Joining me now on the Friday Wrap is WNIN Juggling correspondent Tim Jagielo. Tim, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you, and I'm finally fulfilling my purpose here.
There you go. Yeah, no, great story, great story. Well, this festival seems like a lot of fun. Seems to also be held in the Midwest for the most part. Why is that?
I asked, I first of all was like, Afton, why Evansville? But I asked Afton Benson about this. She's the IJA treasurer, like as you heard in the story. But she says it's because Midwestern towns tend to have, the Midwest has a lot of mid-sized cities there, and that kind of could be good for their convention size. So there's a lot of facilities that can host under 1,000 people. There's about 600 at this festival, and it's kind of like the right space for the right price. And she says it's good for the local economy. And also they tend to be welcoming areas. She said if a city likes us, they tend to go back. And that includes Cedar Rapids a bunch of times. They've been there. They've been to Fort Wayne a bunch of times. It's actually been all in the U.S. except for Montreal, Quebec. And that was in 2000. And then a little convention in Brighton, UK. And that led to the European Juggling Convention, which is the largest in Europe.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about juggling a little bit. When we say jugglers, what and who does that include?
It includes probably everything that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be truly a range. You walk into the big exhibit hall where they're all practicing, and you can see varied ages, races, demographics, different genres of juggling. I saw a guy who looked like he could be in a death metal band. I saw people who were clearly circus performers, people who were stage performers.
Yeah.
All kinds of people were there, and all the ages range from like teen to people maybe in their 80s. And lots of styles, lots of genres, and people flipping different kinds of props. And the props are the things that they're juggling. So,
Right.
Yeah, so there could be like beanbag balls. That's what Nora was juggling. There's also just the things that look like not pool cues. What am I saying? Bowling cues, bowling pins, things that look kind of like that,
yeah.
Rings. I didn't see any swords or knives or anything like that, but I'm sure they could also do that. Nothing was on fire. Maybe that was a rule that was written. But, and the jugglers also are solos, so Jack Denger was a solo we'll say performer. There's duos, there's groups. There's competitions for different kinds of juggling, and during the competition that I saw, there was actually like a pair of, I'll say clowns, but they weren't dressed like clowns. There was some face paint, but there's some loose clothing. They kind of changed their clothing for comedic purposes but they also juggled. One fellow was like keeping a feather in the air with his breath, and just doing some clever comedy. So there's all kinds of stuff in between like that.
But nobody was juggling, say, chainsaws, I hope.
There were no chainsaws that I saw. Everything was pretty safe.
Good to know. Well, so let's talk a little bit more about the festival. Going on a couple more days. What basically will be going on for these next couple of days?
Well, I didn't break down Saturday too much. I kind of, when you talk about the festival, it's really packed. And I think that Sunday is just going to be the open gym. Saturday is going to include, some pretty big competitions. But the show started with an actual walking tour of Evansville, and it's kind of like their welcome. And so they did like a pub crawl, obviously for everybody who's 21 and over. And there's open gym every day. That's when people are juggling in the convention hall, and there's a variety of breakouts. If I could talk about those,
sure.
There's things dedicated to just the youth. There's lots of breakouts on how to juggle more balls in the air, how to improve your juggling work. There's the Queers and Peers hangout for LGBTQ plus IA people. There's lots of yo-yo stuff, unicycling skills.
Yeah.
There's even sobriety discussions and lots of things I don't understand, like a cascade escalator. You can get better at doing one of those, whatever that is.
You mentioned the pub crawl. I'm guessing juggling after the pub crawl would be a bit challenging.
I kind of wish I could have been there for that, but it could be. But, today I know they've got triple hoop manipulations and street performing tips and a forum. So lots of stuff.
Yeah. Happening at both Old National Events Plaza and the Victory, or is it mostly ONB now?
It's ONB. The Victory is for example, that performance that you heard, that
Gotcha.
those things are being held there.
Yeah. And speaking of competition, how did Jack Dinger, the man from Indianapolis that we heard from, how did he fare in that competition? Do we know?
Pretty well. He got silver in the individuals competition. I think he was probably the only fellow from the Midwest. He lost to a professional juggler based in New York, Sereno Aguilar Izo. I'm probably saying that all wrong, but he lost to a professional. And again, I think he was the only Midwest representative, so good for him.
Yeah.
But, they were rated on a lot of things: juggling difficulty, creativity, execution, entertainment value, and, of course, presentation. The Ukrainian team, the Reflection, they took bronze in the group competition.
I see. So medals are awarded much like Olympic medals, right?
It sounded like that, and I was watching the judges, and I was thinking, like, it's like gymnastics, like how do they do that? How do they judge them? But it sounds about right.
All right. Well, that is WNIN's Tim Jagielo. He covered the juggling convention that's underway here in Evansville. As always, Tim, thank you for all your work.
No problem.